Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your prime-time destination news. Newsmakers, talking points. The big talking point is coming from the Election Commission. The turnout data for the 2024 polls is put under the scanner. Why was there such a delay in putting out the official numbers? We'll be asking that question. Also, are Covishield side effects really a concern, as AstraZeneca has admitted in a US court? We'll ask about that too. All that and more coming up ahead. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. Suspended JDS MP Prajal Revanna in the eye of a sex abuse storm now seeks 7 days to join the probe. Claims truth will prevail. Karnataka Chief Minister Sardesai writes to Prime Minister Modi, wants his diplomatic passport revoked of Revanna. Opposition up in arms against the Election Commission for revising the Phase 2 voter data turnout. Trinamool Congress claims votes increased in seats. BJP is eyeing. Left and Congress question EC's reasons behind the delay. Congress all set to end the suspense on Uttar Pradesh's VVIP seat. Likely to announce the Amethi and Raebareli candidates tomorrow. Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, will they contest or not? Former Telangana Chief Minister KCR faces the strictest action yet by the EC. KCR barred from campaigning for 48 hours over allegedly derogatory remarks he made against the Congress during a rally. Home Minister Amit Shah meets Hubli stabbing victim Neha Hiremat's family. The victim was stabbed to death on April 18th. Her father alleged a conversion angle in this killing. Fake bomb threats shut down nearly 100 schools in the Delhi NCR region. Home Ministry confirms bomb threat was a hoax. Probe reveals threats sent from a Russian IP address. An accused in the Salman Khan house shooting probe declared dead. Anuj Thapan dies by suicide while in custody with the Mumbai crime branch. State CID to investigate the death. GST revenue collection hits a record high in April. Collections cross over 2 lakh crore rupees. Massive 17% rise in net revenue collections. America's campus chaos escalates. Riot police storm Columbia and UCLA campuses amidst growing pro-Palestine protests. Dozens of Columbia University students are arrested. But the big story that's breaking this evening, the suspended JDS MP Prajal Revanna is set to return to India. Sources now telling India Today that they have got Prajal Revanna's return ticket. He will return, we are told, on May 16th. So the man who's in the eye of that storm, reportedly, according to sources, has said that he will return within a week. But the return ticket that we have from Munich to Bengaluru is booked for May 15. Prajal Revanna earlier today, through his lawyer, had sought 7 days to join the probe. Joining us now is our Bengaluru Bureau Chief, Nagarjun Dwarkanath, for more. Nagarjun, what can you tell us about Prajal Revanna's return? He tells the court he'll be back in 7 days. You've got a copy of the ticket which says he's going to be back only on the 16th.
Well, Rajdeep, at this point of time, only 7 days extension has been sought. That's the preliminary extension. Most likely, he'll be taking another extension later.
Your audio. Okay, we're trying to get the audio back of Nagarjun's audio there from Bengaluru. What he's informing us is that the suspended JDS MP, who is in the eye of that sex tape storm, is set to return back to the country by the 15th. That's the date which he's got a return ticket from. But he had sought earlier 7 days to join the probe. So Prajal Revanna, at a time when the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Mr. Sardesai, has now written to the Prime Minister. We want to make that clear. The Chief Minister of Karnataka has written to the Prime Minister saying, cancel his diplomatic passport. Very quickly, Nagar, if you want to add more details. What more details do you have, Nagarjun?
In fact, what we have access is some exclusive news that Prajal Revanna is returning on May 16th midnight. It's a big India Today exclusive. The lawyer or the advocate of Prajal Revanna has sought 7 days extension. But what we are told is he is going to return only on May 16th from Munich to Bengaluru. He will be flying the Lufthansa airline and he will be landing in Bengaluru on May 16th midnight is what we are told. We have access to the copy of his return ticket and the passport as well. So the only ticket that with that passport number booked is that on the May 16th. So it seems like Prajal will not be coming before May 16th to India. We'll have to wait and see
Right.
now that the news has come out. What will the SIT do? Will they give him another notice to appear before 16th?
Remember also, of course, as I said, the Karnataka Chief Minister has called for the cancellation of his diplomatic passport. So the heat is building up on Prajal Revanna. Nagarjun Dwarkanath with those details. Let's turn from there to our top focus tonight. On Tuesday, the Election Commission revised their voter turnout data for Phase 1 and 2 of the elections. The Phase 1 data came 11 days after the polling had taken place. The Phase 2 data 4 days later. This has sparked a sharp response from the opposition parties, which are claiming that there is a question mark over the manner in which the voter data has been revised, as well as the length of time it took before the official data for the turnout was given. The Trinamool Congress, the left are all raising these questions. The Election Commission, though, insists that all they are doing is following the rules. The larger question, of course, is why is the Election Commission's credibility coming under the test time and again in this 2024 season? And what is the reality of the voter turnout data? It's our top story.
The Election Commission entered days of suspense and released final turnout figures for the first and second phase of Lok Sabha elections on Tuesday. The first phase turnout has been revised up from 63.7% given on April 19 and 64% given on April 20 to a final tally of 66.10%. This is an increase of over 2% upon the figure given on voting day. The second phase turnout is up from 63% given on April 26 to 66.70%, which is nearly 4% higher than the figure given on the voting day. The final tally, however, is 1% lower than the provisional figure given on April 28. The opposition has criticized the EC over the delay in releasing final figures. It is asking why the EC took 11 days to give Phase 1 figures and 4 days for Phase 2. CPM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri has questioned the EC on why the absolute number of registered voters in each constituency is not being put out. He claims the total number of voters in each constituency was always available on EC website till 2014. Yechuri, in his post on X, said percentages are meaningless unless the number of registered voters is known. He said apprehensions of manipulation of results continue as total voter numbers can be altered at the time of counting. The Congress urged the EC to release turnout data as fast as possible for coming phases.
और किसी की चीज के लिए समय नहीं होगा, पर मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि तीसरे चरण के लिए 7वें चरण तक ये जो विलंब पहले और दूसरे चरण में देखा गया है वो दोहराया नहीं जाएगा.
The TMC also raised questions over the delay.
5.75% ভোট যেখানে যেখানে বিজেপির কম ভোট তোলা হয়েছিল সেই সব জায়গায় হঠাৎ করে ভোটটা বাড়িয়ে দিয়েছে ইলেকশন কমিশন একটা নোটিশ জারি করেছে ইভিএম মেশিন কারা তৈরি করেছে ইভিএম মেশিনের চিপ কারা তৈরি করেছে এই সংখ্যাটা বাড়লো কি করে
While the fight over turnout figures rages, the real question is whether the votes can be manipulated or is the delay being blown out of proportion. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's go straight across to N. Gopal Swamy, former Chief Election Commissioner of the country. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Gopal Swamy. I want to raise the question that many in the opposition are raising, and a few others also are questioning the manner in which the Election Commission released the voter turnout figures for the first two phases of the Lok Sabha election, the final figures, on April 30th. That's yesterday. It took 11 days after the first phase of polling, 4 days after the second phase of polling for these data numbers to be released. Are you surprised, sir, by this delay? 11 days after polling?
This 11 days and 4 days is your imagination.
No, sir.
They have come out, the information is available on the very second day after. That is today, date of poll is P1, P2, it is available in their website. Everybody can see it. If you don't care to see it, it's all right. So for such people like you who don't care to see it, they are publishing and they are getting a bad name. So I thought of suggesting to them, saying that stop this, don't try to be helpful to them, stop this nonsense.
Sir, I have spoken to every report.
Let me make one thing very clear. Every polling station, at the end of the day, the Form 17C is filled in where the voter turnout figure is incorporated. Copies are signed by the polling agents. Copies are given to them. All of them have it with them. Next day, so that day, by the night, approximate figures are put out. But next day, when all these 17C forms go to the returning officer, he takes one by one, keeps on updating the website of the Election Commission. When he completes it, all the information is available there, if you care to see. So to say that it has taken 10 days, is, it's out of ignorance. That's all I can say.
Sir, with due regard, I have spoken to all the reporters who track the EC on a daily basis. They say the official data, I repeat, official final data of polling of the first and second round was only put up at 7 p.m. yesterday. And it showed a 6% rise. That can happen. Figures can rise. But it took 11 days for the official data to finally be put up by the EC on their website. 11 days?
No, that is, you see, official data. Sorry, sir. Official data is available on the website on the third day.
No, sir.
That is the official data. This is just a compilation and then putting it out on a particular day. That's about all. That doesn't have any, see, it doesn't change a wee bit. It's the same thing. But if you don't have a time to look at that, they are trying to be helpful to you to put it out in a manner which you can look at in the newspapers or as a handout to the press. But it is already available. Not only it is available in the website, each candidate knows which polling station polled how many, because he has got the agents. Agents get a copy of what is Form 17C copies. Therefore, when they go on the day of counting, they can have that copy and then say that this is what is recorded. If it is recorded differently, it is totally wrong. So, Election Commission tries to be friendly, giving all information in the interest of transparency. But if they do something which is more than what is asked for, and you find fault with it, is unfortunate.
Sir, I am not finding fault, Mr. Gopal Swamy. I am reflecting a growing concern. The official data, I repeat, sir, was made available publicly on their website only after 11 days. You're saying it was there right through the website. They were updating it on the website. The polling figures were constantly being revised. The final revision, sir, though, took place 11 days later. Normally, this is done within 2 days, 3 days.
No. Sorry, sir. Sorry. It is available on the website on the third day. After that, there is no change at all. You see, look, the procedure is something like this. There is a software package is available with the polling, every polling station. They keep updating it. That figure is only an approximate figure because, at a given point of time at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, all 1500 in a assembly parliamentary constituency may or may not be able to upload it. So it is an approximate figure. By end of the evening, whatever figure is available, that is come out, that the RO of that area or the CEO comes out with it as an approximation. They make it very clear. In fact, in Chennai, they said 72 plus or minus 2. But conveniently, everybody forgot that plus or minus 2 and published at 72. And when the actual figure came at 69 point something, they all said, no, look, it is being, fuddled. No, that's nothing of that kind at all. From the next day onwards, all the information which has come in Form 17A, one by one, it is opened. It is then recorded. It is shown to the members of the candidates, their representatives, etc., and then uploaded in the website of the Election Commission. That website of the Election Commission then by end of the day is complete, and that is the information.
Mr.
What has been published yesterday, 34, is only an information of that repeated again second time. That's about all. Now I am after your query, after your comments that 10 days of delay, this and another, I am advising them, please don't do this. Don't try to be helpful to them. Just ask them to go into the website and have a look at it.
Mr. Gopalsamy, we can agree to disagree on this issue, but may I also ask you another of the queries that the opposition is raising? Why are the absolute number of voters in each parliamentary constituency also not being put out on the website as was the case in the past? Percentages, they say, are meaningless unless the actual numerical figure of voters per constituency is known.
That you can ask them. If the figures are known and they will be putting it out. If they are not putting it out, ask them. But the information is available on the third day.
But do you agree?
Day of poll is 3, 1, 2.
But do you agree that the absolute numbers per constituency should also be put out, not just the percentages, sir, as used to be the case in the past?
No, absolute numbers are available in the website. So if they are not putting it out, it doesn't really matter because it is already there.
Okay. So the opposition, on the other hand, doesn't seem convinced about the neutrality and bona fides of the Election Commission at the moment. What would you say to the opposition, which seems to find fault repeatedly in the way the Election Commission is functioning?
Now, let me answer this in a simple manner. I am not here to answer the opposition questions. Okay. You only asked me about this information. I have given you that information that it is available in the website. This is the procedure and it's already available. They put it out on 30th consolidated figures. They put it out a second time so that you can have a look at it. Now it is given to me. If they take my advice, they need not take my advice at all. But if open to my advice, I'll tell them, please don't put up this additional information. Whatever is available, just simply say that this is the link. You can go to our website and have a look at it.
Mr. Gopalsamy, I will ask again, are you completely confident that the Election Commission is not being influenced at any level by the government of the day in any manner? Just, for example, if I may say so, for hate speech, when alleged hate speech charges are made against top leaders from the Prime Minister onwards, the Election Commission does not send a notice to the Prime Minister, to the President of the BJP. Then a notice in the case of Rahul Gandhi is also not sent to Rahul Gandhi, but to the Congress President for some equivalence. Are you confident the Election Commission cannot be bullied by anyone?
Rajdeep, Sardesai, let me answer this question one simple. You wanted me to talk. Your people contacted me. You wanted me to talk about the issue of the publication of information. I have answered it. Beyond that, I have nothing to say.
Do you believe, though, sir, that the Election Commission should be much tougher, make sure that the campaign does not violate any aspect of the Representation of People's Act, particularly when it comes to appeals on the ground of religion, posters being put up, whether it's of a Ram Mandir or indeed of any community, any appeal to any religious community or demonizing a community must be stopped?
Rajdeep, you said you started by saying that they are, what is it? I mean, you mentioned about whether they are absolutely neutral, etc., as felt by the opposition. Okay. Now, it is for each of the opposition members to decide. I cannot influence them. I cannot tell them this is right, this is wrong. Nor can I tell Rajdeep Sardesai whether, there is nothing wrong with it. I mean, at least the information which has been put up has been correctly put up. There is nothing wrong with it. But Rajdeep Sardesai may take it, may not take it. It's your choice. I can only say what is the procedure, what has been done, and nothing wrong with that.
Does it worry you, sir, that there are growing instances of complaints of hate speech which are not being addressed by the Election Commission or the election? The politicians don't seem to take much concern about the notices that are being sent to them, even though they seem prima facie to amount to a brazen violation of the code of conduct, sir. Do you believe that, doesn't all of this trouble you at all as a former chief election commissioner?
See, there is more hate speech which is going around. It is for the commission to take note of it and do whatever they want to. Whatever they have done. If you think that it is not sufficient enough, tell them what more should be done. Who am I to tell you what to say? Who am I to tell them what to say and what not to do?
Sir, it's not me. For example, today the historian Ramchandra Guha, for example, has tweeted saying he's never seen such a toxic, high-pitched, hate-filled campaign. Do you believe that there is a need to relook at the model code of conduct and put fear in politicians who appeal on the grounds of religion or seek to divide communities in the process?
The model code of conduct is a document which has been put up by the political parties. It is being administered by the election commission. Now, if the political parties feel that model code of conduct has to be strengthened, let them all get together and strengthen it. Who says no?
Sir, one last question that I want to ask you here, sir, is quite simply this. In the first two rounds, there has been a slight dip in the turnout. Do you worry, sir, that the biggest election in the exercise, should it really be held in mid-summer? Do we need to relook, sir, at that? Because one of the reasons for the low turnout is the hot weather. Should there be a relook on when elections are held in this country?
Yeah, so February, March would be an ideal time.
February, March. You think there is a need to relook at that? Am I correct, sir? Have elections in February, March?
Yeah, absolutely. If it could be done in February, March, at least this excuse of there being heat, etc., at least that will not come up. I'm pretty sure that the heat may have had a role in the reduction in the polling. May have had. I'm not very sure about it, but I think so.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Mr. Gopalsamy. You've been combative, but you've done some plain speaking, claiming that you don't see any need to quibble over the voter turnout numbers and the fact that it came out officially so many days later. You're claiming it was there on the website 3 days later. I thank you very much for joining me. But let me raise the question, because political parties now are looking at every number. Is the delay in the turnout data putting the EC under the lens once again? What explains low voter turnout? Can the number of voters be at all manipulated by anyone? Is this a storm in a teacup? Joining me now, Yogendra Yadav, co-founder Swaraj India, also eminent cephalogist. Gaurav Bhatia is BJP spokesperson, national spokesperson. Adil Singh Bopra is Congress spokesperson. Appreciate all of you joining us. I want to come to you, Yogendra ji, first, and then I'll come to the BJP and Congress politicians, because you've gone ahead and tweeted saying you're not surprised that the figures have been revised upwards by about 4 to 6%. That happens. You're surprised that the official data was put up so late. Now you may have heard Mr. Gopalsamy saying, look, the data was always there on our website or the EC's website. This is much ado about nothing.
Rajdeep, let me begin by saying where I agree with Mr. Gopalsamy. Number one, yes, we have very good systems in place, and fudging election turnout figure is not easy. There is Form 17C, which is a final guarantee. And yes, therefore, I would not assume that despite the delay and all those things, while there are very serious questions, I would not assume that a fraud has taken place. And an increase of 6%, while it needs to be explained, we should not jump to the conclusion that elections have already been manipulated. Having said this, I must point out that what we have seen is an extraordinary deviation from the standard norm. Rajdeep, I have been watching elections since 1989. for 35 years. Even in those days when there was no computer, these votes were tallied, and within 24 hours, I repeat, even in the days without computer, within 24 hours, Election Commission used to give the date, final data, and it was called final data. Election Commission would say in which constituency, how many electorate in exact number, and how many of them polled, men and women. All this data was always given. And it is for the first time that the data was not released. Instead, what we had was a voting app. The app kept changing the figures. Rajdeep, my team tracked it. The figures were changed even after 48 hours. It's only after 72 hours or so that figures somewhat stabilized. And even then, the Election Commission did not change the, did not release the exact data. So there are three major deviations from past practice, which has led to very legitimate concerns. Number one, instead of an official release within 24 hours, we had an app which kept changing for a very long time. Number two, that the official data was given after 11 days. You are absolutely right. And if Mr. Gopalaswamy believes that it was always there on the computer, I think these are things which can be easily checked. I'm not saying he's lying, but these things are so easy to check these days on computer. When was the data loaded on the web? And number three, that even when the final data has been released yesterday after adverse media reports, even today, even now, I do not know the exact number of votes polled in each constituency. What I have is percentage figure. And when the numbers are in millions, percentage figures do allow for manipulation of a few hundred votes.
But so let's be very clear. There is no evidence yet of manipulation at any level. So that's a conspiracy theory. But you're worried about the secrecy and the lack of transparency. Am I correct?
Yes, Rajdeep. I began by saying that I do not assume that fudging, fraud, or manipulation has taken place. But in order to ensure in our country, there have been very high standards of transparency. And one of those high standards of transparency have indeed been broken. I do not think Election Commission is playing foul, but it has demonstrated, sadly, a bit of incompetence and an attempt to hide. It has, and I'm saying it very carefully, and I know why I'm saying so. There is an attempt of secrecy because Election Commission was caught in a discrepancy in 2019. Election Commission fears that the same discrepancy might come up again, and therefore, instead of correcting the actual figures, correcting the situation, they have resorted to this cover-up. This is unnecessary in the current situation when there are so many serious questions about Election Commission. It is entirely avoidable, this particular bit, and I'm really hoping Election Commission would come clean, would give the exact figure in terms of Hazar, Sankara number, every number, and that from next phase onwards, we would start getting official report, not after 11 days, but after 24 hours, as it used to be the case.
Okay, let me leave it there. Yogendra Yadav has to leave us at this moment, but thank you very much for giving us your perspective as someone who's tracked this for years. I want to come to Gaurav Bhatia and Adil Boparai. Adil Boparai, to you first, because it's the opposition which is crying wolf, saying there is something in this system which is not quite right, that these numbers... I'll come to you, sir. Don't worry.
Unfair.
Sir, Mr. Bhatia...
Let me say this on your face.
Okay, they have to
No,
answer.
this is very unfair.
No, sir, you can say what you want.
I'm saying it is unfair. I have the right to say so.
Sir, they have to answer, right?
Yes, and I will. This is Yogendra. No, you have to answer. Look at this picture. Who's Yogendra Yadav? He's seen with Rahul Gandhi. He is a mouthpiece of Rahul Gandhi.
Sir,
you allow him to speak.
He is allowed to say what he wants. Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, neither you or anyone will intimidate me anymore. I am a fair professional anchor. I am a fair professional anchor.
I don't want to intimidate you.
I am following my professional dharma.
You are not even worth that.
You don't like it?
Now you go ahead.
Yeah, please.
Listen, don't shout first of all.
First put his voice down. Sorry, I do not. You have no right to be rude to me. Put your voice fader down. I am sick and tired of people being rude. If you want to talk, please talk decently. Mr. Adil Singh Boparai, as Yogendra Yadav points out, there is no evidence here of manipulation. So why, as of now, is the Congress already, or the Trinamool Congress and other parties claiming the numbers are manipulated? Why not give the Election Commission a fair chance? You are influencing a large number of people by saying we are worried about the possibility that the delay could lead to manipulation.
Mr. Sardesai, transparency and a rule-based order are hallmarks of a functional democracy. And I'm constrained to say that the Election Commission of India has become toothless. The Election Commission of India has abdicated its responsibility. And please see the reasons why I state this. You have BJP official handles peddling false propaganda, demonizing an entire community of this country. And the Election Commission of India, despite repeated complaints, maintains stoic silence. Does this not alter a level playing field? Does this not tantamount to polarization? Number one. Number two, you have instances of booth capturing in Manipur. Has the EC given a comprehensive answer? Number three, you have BJP giving out political advertisements seeking votes in the name of religion. We have handed over documentary evidence to the Election Commission of India. What has the EC done? The EC has done precious nothing. You have false propaganda circulating about our manifesto on social media, on WhatsApp, brought to the EC's notice. What has been done? A tepid notice to the BJP president? Please understand, Mr. Sardesai, we live in the age of technology. The damage is already done. You can't undo the damage. But the least which you can do, because there is an onerous responsibility under the Constitution and under the statute which has been conferred upon the EC to take action, to penalize the offence. The EC has nothing.
Okay.
Now let me come to my second point. Mm-hmm. Precedents indicate that the data in terms of the total number of voters who polled or cast their votes and the percentage is revealed within 24 to 72 hours. In this case, on the first pointer, you have a delay of 11 days. Number two, the delayed data which is indeed released is incomplete. All what has been released is percentages. This impedes an audit analysis. We are living in times of an extremely autocratic government which subjugates institutions, which has reduced agencies into their extensions. So therefore, I again repeat, accountability and transparency are thresholds which the EC should not shy away.
I will stop you there. You made your point strongly and the floor is all yours, Gaurav Bhatia. I will not interrupt you. I would like to hear from you on the charges that have been made specifically by Adil Singh Boparai. Let me be clear. Yogendra Yadav did not charge the EC with manipulation of data. Yogendra Yadav is making the point that there is a lack of transparency. And this is leading the likes of Adil Singh Boparai to say that they would like to see transparency in the way the EC functions, because otherwise the EC is not fulfilling its mandatory duty. Your response, sir.
Rajdeep, at the very outset, even when an anchor is uncivilized, he interrupts. You have to be civil. And I am armed with fact. I know the law. And I also rely on what the former Chief Election Commissioner just told you on your face. So therefore, I will not be shouting at you. Just allow me the time that I deserve. And I will answer every query
please go ahead.
that you've made and whatever has been said by the Congress spokesperson. Yes. First, I need to expose, which is very important. You invite a panelist who is so close to Rahul Gandhi that he was part of the Bharat Todo Yatra, and I have a picture in hand. There are many more pictures. To him, the people of the country are asking, not me. Rajdeep, the second phase got over on 26th of April 2024. You will agree with me? The data was released on the 30th. So it is a gap of 3 days. And I have his tweet. Yogendra Yadav tweets that Election Commission of India has taken 10 days to release the data.
He's referring
Why
to round
did he
one,
hide
sir.
the fact
So he's
that
referring to round
when
one.
it comes to the second,
He's referring to
be
round
quiet.
one.
Don't disturb me. Don't be his spokesperson.
No, sir.
You
Again,
want me
you're
to
being
read?
rude.
You will feel ashamed.
No.
Now I will expose you. No, I will read it. I will read it. You promised me you will not interrupt me. But you started interrupting because I'm exposing you. Now I'm reading the tweet for the benefit of the viewers. He said, पिछले 35 साल में ऐसा मैंने पहली बार देखा है कि चुनाव आयोग मतदान के सटीक आंकड़े जाहिर करने में 10 दिन से ज्यादा लगा रही है. क्यों लिखा है ये? 3 दिन के बाद सेकंड फेज आया.
No, sir. First phase. No, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, you're being half truth. The first phase got over on 19. The numbers come out on the 30th. 11 days.
I am not being. Yogendra Yadav has been. Yogendra Yadav is doing. Yogendra Yadav is indulging in such kind of misleading facts being spread.
Okay.
Rajdeep, don't defend him. But I'll come to the main point now. The main point. I need to educate you. Just the way Chief Election Commissioner said 3 very important things. First, he said, these charges are a figment of your imagination. 1. 2, he said, all data is there if you care to see. And very importantly, he said, stop this nonsense. And you know why? I will tell you. There is a software which is called the VTA. Now, the VTA had all the data, and please note, constituency-wise, parliamentary constituency-wise, assembly constituency-wise, and state-wise. What it did not have was the aggregated data, right? So when you say there is a delay of 10 days, that charge is false. I'll tell you why. Because it was there on the app. It wasn't aggregated, but it was there. Second,
did not give us the final. No. The app did not give us the final numbers, sir. The app did not. Journalists are asking. Normally, the final numbers are given, sir.
You are lying.
No, I'm not lying. I'm not lying, and neither are the journalists who have done stories.
Please hear me out.
The final numbers were given yesterday,
sir. Don't interrupt me. You are not willing to listen to me, Rajdeep.
I'm listening, sir. You have to tell the truth.
I will again reiterate. So listen. Again, I'm telling you the truth. The VTA, the app, had the numbers pertaining to the parliamentary constituency, the assembly constituency, and also state-wise data. What it did not have was aggregated data. Please understand. And I'm speaking this with some responsibility. And let me tell you the checks and balances. All the voter turnout is statutorily recorded at every polling station. 1. 2. There is a statutory form 17C which records the voter turnout at each polling station. And most importantly, Rajdeep, presiding officer and all the polling agents sign on form 17C. Therefore, there cannot be a change in the number of votes that have been cast. So please understand that.
Your last point is well taken. Your last point is well taken, sir. Your last point is well taken. Then, which is why I want to ask you, sir, just a minute.
Why can I complete myself though?
Okay,
with one paragraph of the Supreme Court judgment.
Please complete.
Thank you. Now, they have been in the past also casting aspersions on the Election Commission of India, the EVM, the VVPAT, and this is what the Supreme Court said in a very recently delivered judgment, which is very applicable here. The Supreme Court said, and I quote, however, it is also necessary to exercise care and caution when we raise aspersions on the integrity of the electoral process. Repeated and persistent doubts and despair, even without supporting evidence, can have the contrarian impact of creating distrust. Have they filed a complaint with the Election Commission of India? Have they moved the High Court or the Supreme Court? They have no proof, no iota of evidence. And they raise questions on the integrity of the Election Commission of India. That is the sickening part, because they know they've lost the election and they have no place to go. And they're raising these, baseless allegations. Thank you, Rajdeep.
Very strong point made at the end. Very strong point that Gaurav Bhatia makes, Adil Singh Boparai, that casting these aspersions on the Election Commission will eventually erode public faith in our electoral process, he says, as the Supreme Court seemed to suggest.
Empty words spoken by my very erudite friend, Mr. Bhatia. But be that as it may, please understand, the BJP cannot bully and intimidate others. Now, let me share facts. And please, Mr. Bhatia can correct me if he thinks I'm wrong. The first phase of the election was on the 19th of April. The data which is released, and mind you, data what is being released is percentages, not the aggregate number by the EC, is on the 30th of April. So undisputedly, there's a delay of 11 days. This is one part of our allegation. The second part of our allegation is that the Congress party has handed over documentary video evidence of senior BJP leaders resorting to divisive and communal speeches, of polarizing the electorate, of demonizing one particular community in this country.
Shifting
What
the
has the
goalpost
EC
now.
done? What has the EC done?
Okay, you raised that issue, and I want Gaurav Bhatia.
That is your answer.
Okay, Gaurav Bhatia in conclusion answer that, because that is perhaps far more worrying at one level, the kind of campaigning that we are seeing. The divisive campaigning, using religious symbols and getting away with it, even though it's a violation of the Model Code of Conduct. A final word from you, Mr. Bhatia.
So Rajdeep, very quickly, let me first counter. I asked my, young friend who's a very good advocate as well, what about a petition before the High Court and the Supreme Court, and what evidence does he have? He remained silent. Second, I am very categorically, with utmost responsibility at my command, stating the VTA app had given the numbers, the absolute numbers, regarding the parliamentary constituency, regarding the assembly constituency, and state-wise data. So I think I've made myself clear. Now on the statements that incite violence or, they spread hatred amongst communities, let me make it very clear. Ye vote jihad kya hota hai, Rajdeep? Can you tell me? Akhilesh Yadav was defending vote jihad. Rahul Gandhi saying, Hindu dharma mein shakti hoti hai, hame shakti se ladna hai. What is that? What is Khadge ji saying? Ki ab Lord Shiva will fight with Lord Rama. Is that not inciting? So please, Election Commission of India is a body in which we have utmost faith. The Supreme Court has also said so. Let the constitutional body do its job. Okay. Just because you are losing an election doesn't mean you start casting aspersions on every constitutional body.
Whether it is someone using words like vote jihad, or whether it is someone using words like Ghuspetia, at the end of the day, what this country doesn't want is the demonization of any community or appeals on the ground of religion. That is a clear violation. That is a clear violation. Many believe, many legal observers and political observers believe, of the Model Code of Conduct. Will the EC act on that?
Let the Supreme Court and the Election Commission of India decide.
Okay,
not
let them decide.
Yadav.
I won't decide in a TV studio. There you're right. Let the Supreme Court and the Election Commission decide. I hope they do.
You can't.
I hope they do.
You're not competent.
I'm not competent. Taken your point again, Gaurav Bhatia. I appreciate every dig you've had at me. No problem. Gaurav Bhatia, Adil Singh Boparai, my chest remains as wide as ever. Okay, let's take a look at some of the top election stories of the day. President Draupadi Murmu offering prayers at Ram Mandir and Hanuman Gadi temple in Ayodhya at a time when Rahul Gandhi and other opposition leaders have targeted the BJP over president's absence in the Pran Pratishtha ceremony. Suspense over Amethi and Rai Bareli continuing. Last date of filing nominations from these seats is on Friday. Congress's Jairam Ramesh claimed there is no delay and by tomorrow the names will be revealed. Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy didn't appear before Delhi police in the Amit Shah fake video case. His counsel instead appeared on his behalf and denied using the INC Telangana Twitter account. PDP netas hit the streets after the Election Commission rescheduled elections in the Anantnag Rajouri constituency. The party workers held posters which read ECI equals BJP, protested against the deferment of polls. Amidst the poll season, actor Rupali Ganguly joined the BJP at the party headquarters in Delhi. She is a television serial actor. She claimed that the Mahayagya of development by the centre inspired her to join politics. Focus tonight, vaccine maker AstraZeneca, which made Covishield in this country through Serum Institute, is in the eye of a storm after it admitted in court that a COVID-19 vaccine could lead to a rare side effect of blood clotting and low platelet count. This vaccine, remember, was sold in India as Covishield, administered to over 170 crore Indians during the pandemic. But what is this rare side effect, and do Indians really have reason to worry, or are we being excessively alarmist? Joining me now are Dr. Shahid Jamil, virologist, visiting professor. He's at the moment at Oxford University, and Dr. Hemant Thakkar, consultant physician in Mumbai's top hospitals. Appreciate both of you joining us. Let me come to Shahid Jamil first. I want to understand the side effects that AstraZeneca is admitting now in court for the first time. How serious do you see them? The possibility of blood clotting that some say could even lead to heart attacks. Is it really as serious as it appears?
Well, Rajdeep, I have looked at the Telegraph report 2 days back that highlighted this for the first time. And the key word there is rare side effects. So what does rare actually mean? And this is, by the way, not something new. We have known about this since 2021. If you look at the data that World Health Organization put out in 2021, the risk of getting this complicated name TTS, thrombosis and thrombocytopenia, which essentially means blood clots or reduction in the levels of a blood type of cell which is which prevents clotting. So anyway, the risk is 1 in 100,000 for EU. The risk is about 1 in 250,000 for the UK. Unfortunately for India, we don't have that data. So the point is that the risk is extremely low. And yes, they may have admitted it for the first time in court documents, but this is not new information. This has been available at the WHO website for 3 years now.
Dr. Thakkar, from what we are hearing from Dr. Shahid Jamil, he says, the risk is minimal of this having, of any blood clotting taking place. Have you had any experience of your patients reporting this, sir?
So I'd like to first clarify that this risk of vaccine-induced thrombosis is within the first 3 months of getting the vaccine. The whole country has been vaccinated adequately. A large proportion has used Kovishield. Now you don't want to bolt the stable after the horse has run away, because the chances of thrombosis are almost zero now, because 3 months post-vaccination is done. So we really haven't seen, and as Dr. Jamil rightly said, 0.0006% of vaccinated individuals. And remember, every vaccine, why Covishield, the polio vaccine, the measles vaccine, all have this thrombocytosis problem every time they are given the vaccine. So I don't think we need to be alarmed. The vaccine era is over. India has been vaccinated. The chances of you now getting a delayed TTP is almost impossible. So I think I'm happy that Astra has openly announced it, but it was always there on their website. So I think this is now much ado about nothing.
From what, Dr. Jamil, you heard what Dr. Thakkar said. No need to be alarmist. This fear that clotting could lead to heart attack is a very minimal risk, that too within the first 3 to 6 months. And therefore, it would be unfortunate if anyone were to suggest this is something to be fearful about. Am I correct?
Yes, absolutely. And let's look at how this sort of risk is computed. If you were to look at clinical trials to find such risk, you will never find it, because in a typical clinical trial for COVID vaccines, phase 3 trial, you had about 30,000 volunteers. Half of them received the vaccine and half of them got the placebo. So essentially means about 15,000 people got the vaccine. You will never be able to compute a 1 in 100,000 risk when you are using 15,000 volunteers. It's just mathematically not possible. These things happen when millions of people get the vaccine once it's approved. Then these very rare events keep popping up. As I have said earlier also, nothing in medicine is 100% effective or 100% safe. We go by risk versus benefit, and clearly in this case, benefits far outweigh the risk.
Benefits far outweigh the risk. Therefore, Dr. Thakkar, should I say that all those who've had Covishield doses 2 years ago, completely safe? We've had some reports of some people complaining of long COVID, of suggesting that maybe if they've had a heart ailment, it could have been induced by the vaccine? Or do you believe that could be just the fallout of the disease and not the vaccine, and we need to make that distinction?
I think, as Dr. Jamil said, look at the risk-reward ratio. There was emergency authorization given to the vaccine because amongst the ghost of COVID, we had nothing to give the patient. We had nothing to protect ourselves with. So we gave the vaccine. And I think such infinitesimally small percentages should not now be given a hanger to hang somebody's coat on, because we all know that the COVID virus prima facie was thrombogenic. It stimulated clotting. It stimulated aggregation of platelets and heart attacks and strokes. So which one caused it, nobody knows. But a lot of people post-COVID virus had thromboaggregatory problems. I think AstraZeneca's revelation is now being blown out of proportion. None of us need to worry because the era of vaccination is over. Nobody is adequately talking about a guideline for boosters, and every vaccine has side effects, more so the emergency authorizations ones. So look at the benefit that you got. Don't look at your glass the little empty that it was.
Dr. Thakkar, Dr. Jamil, two very fine voices who have clearly suggested let's not get alarmist. The benefits outweigh the risks when it came to Covishield, AstraZeneca. Thank you both very much for joining me here on the show tonight. That's it on all that we could pack in today on the news today. Just a reminder, Friday night we'll be back with elections on my plate. It is from the wondrous state of Andhra Pradesh. Do watch that. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubh Ratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.